Just months after that deadly shooting at Oxford High, students from the school were in the Capitol today lobbying for new gun legislation.
A group of about 50 students and advocates meeting with lawmakers there today. Doug Reardon joining us live from the state capitol. And Doug, what did they have to say with lawmakers about the actions coming out of today's talks?
Yeah, well, Josh and Janice, there were three things they were here to do today, and we should note that there was actually some good news for those advocates ahead of today's meeting. Senate Majority Leader Mike Shirkey has agreed to, but not yet set a date for a hearing on red flag laws. It was one of the main things that those students and advocates were here to talk about today. We got a chance to speak to a good amount of them. We should start by talking about red flag laws. That is the biggest ask here of the day. There are 18 other U.S. states that have codified these laws. Red flag laws would essentially allow a judge to temporarily take away somebody's firearm if family or friends can present a good reason to believe that that gun owner could be a danger to themselves or others. Students were also out here asking for safe storage laws. If you remember, the teenage Oxford shooter, the accused shooter, reportedly got the firearm he used in that act of violence from his parents' sock drawer. Students we talked to today are still very shaken up by that day, but are hopeful that being out here and actually putting faces to names can help put faces to the issue at hand.
It's so normal, and it shouldn't be like a normal thing to just go to school and be scared for your life.
Just the bravery of kids. These are kids who are coming to their state capitol to ask for us to do more so that they don't have to worry that they might go to school and get killed. And that is terrifying.
And Senator McMurrow really wants to use surplus dollars to actually put money in the hands of schools to get this mental health going. Lila, the student who you just heard there from, said that she has taking half of her classes now online, as a lot of kids at Oxford has. Just being in the building sometimes too stressful for them. So as far as that hearing on red flag laws, we don't really have a great timeline. We know that Senate Majority Leader Shirkey has agreed to it, but it could still be a few months before anything actually gets on the floor. We're live in Lansing today. Doug Reardon, Fox 17 News.
Good evening, everyone. Flooding has been a primary concern for many locations across West Michigan, and it's mainly because of ice jamming that is happening. So I wanted to explain exactly what that is. Typically during the warmer weather that we did see, even just yesterday, what a fluctuation with our temperatures, it starts to break up that ice. Now, when it refreezes, like today, you can start to see a lot of that ice flow actually bunching up, and it actually pushes downstream. When this happens, it can become a little bit tight and potentially lodged, leading to some flooding and expanding that water that's just trying to go downstream into locations that it shouldn't be, towards the potential even locations nearby, allowing for the flow of the river to result in flooding. So that is the explanation of what ice jamming is. Here in West Michigan, though, we are certainly much colder across the region. We're starting to see a few of those flurries closer towards I-94, breaking up of the clouds a little bit towards the north, especially north of I-96, leading into partly cloudy skies for the rest of tonight. Temperatures right now, they are much colder than yesterday. 23 degrees in Grand Rapids, 24 degrees in Battle Creek, and 24 degrees also in Ben Harbor. We are going to stay in the 20s and teens throughout the rest of this evening, yet again becoming partly cloudy for tonight with an overnight low of 13 degrees. It's going to be a cold one leading into the next couple of days. We have the chance for widespread snow showers, a winter weather advisory in effect for our southern counties starting at 2 p.m. on Thursday. We'll detail more about that coming up.
A man from Grand Rapids is in custody accused of stealing guns from a sports shop in Kent County overnight. Deputies were responding to an alarm at Al and Bob's Sports in Byron Township around 12:30 a.m. when they saw a truck speeding away from the scene. Shortly after that, they say the driver lost control and crashed into the front of the McDonald's across the street. The sheriff's office says he then tried stealing a car from the Speedway next door, but they stopped him. They say the truck he was originally driving was reported stolen from a nearby business. The 27-year-old was taken to the hospital with minor injuries and will be transferred to the county jail once he's released. No word yet on how many guns were stolen, but investigators believe that more than one suspect was involved. You can call the sheriff's office or Silent Observer with any tips. And tonight, we're learning more about the random stabbings at a Meijer on Monday night.
Wyoming police say one of the victims is continuing to recover in the hospital. Lauren Edwards joining us live from the control room now with the latest. Lauren?
Janice and Josh, you may remember there were two victims in this, a 19-year-old man and a 74-year-old man. It's a 74 who remains hospitalized at this time. Now, Fox 17 acquired court documents just over an hour ago revealing that the suspect is 57-year-old James Edwards Ivy. In the documents, investigators say that Ivy walked inside the Meijer store on 54th around 8 p.m. on Monday and stabbed two customers. The 19-year-old was stabbed in the back, forearm, and shoulder. The other victim, a 74-year-old, was also stabbed in the back and suffered a punctured lung. Ivy ran from the store and remained at large until about 6 a.m. on Tuesday when Grand Rapids police found him near LaGrave Avenue and Cherry Street, roughly 7 miles away. Investigators say he admitted to the stabbings and to taking knives from his daughter's house with the intent to hurt someone. Police found 3 knives on him, and he was wearing the same clothing as the suspect caught on surveillance cameras at the store. Now, according to state records, Ivy was convicted of first-degree criminal sexual conduct back in 1991 and faced an assault charge in 1987. According to the Michigan Sex Offender Registry, Ivy was compliant as of last month. Now, police told Fox 17 yesterday that mental health may be a factor in all of this. So I reached out to Network 180, and here are some things they say that people should keep in mind. Number one, mental illness doesn't equate to violence. In fact, people experiencing mental health issues are more likely to be victims of violent crimes. Number two, if a person appears to be in physical danger or endangering others, call 911. Number three, the Grand Rapids Homeless Outreach Team, called HOT, is also available to help. Network 180 social workers and peer recovery support work with the Grand Rapids Police and Fire to help unsheltered individuals get connected to services, including mental health services. So, for the homeless outreach team's contact info, you could head to fox17online.com or click on our mobile app. Then Ivy, he is expected to be arraigned early tomorrow morning. Reporting live in the control room, Lauren Edwards, Fox 17 News.
All right, Lauren, thank you. The death of an 82-year-old Allegan County man has been ruled a homicide. His cause of death, abuse and neglect.
Fox 17's Julie Dunmeyer started covering the story while the now homicide victim was still alive. She joins us now with the details. Julie?
Yeah, Janice, this is a story I've been working on for months. It comes to you from Pullman, a small community in Allegan County. William Fitzhughes lived there for decades on the main street, but the home he raised his family in became unrecognizable in a few years. Corey Neathery and Christopher Fitzhugh, William Fitzhugh's grandsons, are charged with the abuse and financial exploitation of their grandfather, family saying the system failed their dad. Through a Freedom of Information Act request, we've learned reports to Adult Protective Services go back to 2017, claiming that William and his wife Eula were in danger. Each investigation was closed because William denied he was being abused. The MDHHS saying because he didn't meet the definition of a vulnerable adult under the law, there's nothing more that they could have done. No charges in connection to the death of William at this time. I did get to talk to him before he died. He said he wanted his own grandkids to face the consequences for the actions that ultimately cost him his life.
What he done to me, they need jail time.
William went ahead and spoke to me from his hospice bed. That's why it was over Zoom. William's wife, Eula, meanwhile, is staying with children. William saying, or family telling me that William would also often take the brunt of the physical abuse, not letting it get to his wife. Tonight we'll be airing part 1 of an investigative report into William's death and why state investigators couldn't stop the abuse in time. Reporting in the newsroom, Julie Dunmeyer, Fox 17 News.
All right, we'll be watching for that one, Julie. Thank you. Grand Rapids Police Department holding a few special events next week. Chief Eric Payne's retirement open house is happening next Friday, March 4th. It's happening from 1 to 3 o'clock at GRPD headquarters on Monroe Center. And then the swearing-in ceremony for incoming Chief Eric Winstrom will be the following Monday, March 7th. That event will be held at the City Hall Commissions Chamber at 5:30. Still ahead, the situation in Eastern Europe is getting worse.
Yeah, officials now ask Ukrainian citizens to leave Russia. The Pentagon's warning about what could come still ahead.
And cold air has returned to West Michigan, detailing more about your upcoming Thursday forecast in just a bit.
The crisis in Ukraine escalating once again. The Pentagon says that Russian President Vladimir Putin looks fully prepared to carry out a large-scale invasion of Ukraine. A senior U.S. defense official tells Fox that 80% of Russian troops in forward positions are ready to go.
Meanwhile, Russia has evacuated its diplomats from Kiev, and Ukraine is urging its citizens to leave Russia. Caroline Shively has more details from Washington.
Pro-Kremlin activists hit the streets of St. Petersburg Wednesday to celebrate Russia's moves on Ukraine. While on the ground in Kyiv, Ukrainians are grimly preparing to fight.
My friends are ready to protect, to defend our country.
Ukraine's foreign minister warned the United Nations General Assembly that the effects of an invasion would be felt worldwide.
If a permanent member of the UN Security Council succeeds in breaking literally all rules, other actors will be inspired by him and follow his pattern.
The Biden administration is ready to impose more sanctions depending on Russia's next move.
If Moscow's approach changes, we remain ready to engage. Diplomacy cannot succeed unless Russia changes course.
Members of Congress are split on whether sanctions are enough.
I think the president has full knowledge of what impact these sanctions will have and is fully ready to go all the way.
They have not brought guns to a gunfight, and I don't think that's going to be sufficient to deter Vladimir Putin.
There is some unity on Capitol Hill. A bipartisan group of lawmakers has crafted a measure that would require congressional authority before involving U.S. troops in Ukraine. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
And at the Vatican, Pope Francis is speaking out again about the situation in Ukraine.
I have great sadness in my heart for the worsening situation in Ukraine. Despite the diplomatic efforts over the past few weeks, various alarming scenarios continue to open, and like myself, many people throughout the world are worried. And once more, the peace of all is threatened by the interests of a few.
Wednesday, the Pontiff addressed his weekly audience, saying he feels pain at alarming signs of escalation between Russia and Ukraine, and he's pleading for restraint, saying the peace of all is threatened. The Pope led an international day of prayer for Ukraine last month, and he's made multiple calls for peace in the region. And as the situation with Russia and Ukraine continues to unfold, you can stay with Fox 17 on air and on our website. You can stream us as well.
Good evening, everyone. Taking a look now across West Michigan, we're starting to see a few breaks in the clouds. We have some drier air that's starting to build into West Michigan, allowing for the clouds to break up. Already starting to see a little bit of blue sky in Stanton and also Ravenna. Otherwise, mostly cloudy skies across the region. As for weather headlines, we're expecting to receive 2 to 3 inches of snow widespread across West Michigan late Friday night, or rather Thursday night into Friday morning. Otherwise, for this weekend, it is going to be a little bit more warm. It's also going to be pretty dry and quiet before temperatures return back to the 30s, even a 40-degree point by this upcoming next Wednesday. A look at our satellite radar shows very light snow flurries falling closer towards I-94 and in southwest Michigan. This is where we still have mostly cloudy skies, but any accumulation will be exceptionally minor, mainly a light dusting. You can see the lack of cloud cover north of I-96 starting to push into parts of West Michigan. This is where we're expected to have actually a few moments of sunshine for this evening, with otherwise partly cloudy skies overnight and into tomorrow morning. Temperatures right now, they're in the 20s. We're at 24 degrees in Muskegon, 22 degrees in Ionia, 24 in Battle Creek, Coldwater, Three Rivers, and Kalamazoo. The temperature change, there is a difference. You can really feel it outside. It's a 28-degree difference in Kalamazoo comparatively to 24 hours ago, and a 28-degree difference also in Three Rivers comparatively to 24 hours ago. We went from rain showers to snow showers across the region, and we're going to stay a little bit cooler for the next couple of days. Our evening planner shows 20 degrees by 9 p.m. and 18 degrees by 11 p.m. this evening, with partly cloudy skies and winds from the north-northeast between 5 to 10 miles per hour. When the winds shift coming from the northeast, we're no longer going to be fed that moisture from the Great Lakes, and that's what's going to deliver a little bit more partly cloudy conditions, drier skies, drier atmosphere as well, with an overnight low of 13 degrees. Our future track shows shows the drier conditions throughout the rest of tonight. Leading into tomorrow morning is when we have the breakup of the cloud cover, leading to actually needing the sunglasses tomorrow morning while you're headed to work and school. But throughout the afternoon, the cloud cover will increase yet again. We have a system that's going to approach from the south, bringing widespread snow showers throughout the rest of Thursday evening and Thursday night. Initially moving in towards I-94 by 6 p.m. on Thursday, gradually pushing north closer towards I-96 by 8 p.m. on Thursday, and widespread overnight Thursday night into Friday morning. Keep in mind that this snow is quickly going to move out after 6 a.m., really pushing out of the area completely by 8 a.m. on Friday morning. So while it's not going to be directly snowing during our Friday morning commutes, roadways are expected to be snow covered and slick primarily on those secondary roads. Widespread 2 to 3 inches will be possible, along with it isolated higher amounts. Because of this, we have a winter weather advisory in effect currently for our southern counties between 2 p.m. Thursday through 8 a.m. on Friday. We're expecting to see those winter weather advisories potentially spread closer to Grand Rapids as we continue into tomorrow. Our Super 7-day planner shows a high temperature of 31 degrees for Saturday, a smidge warmer for the weekend, as high temperatures will be staying in the mid to upper 30s, near 40 degrees on Wednesday. A beautiful stretch of weather with mostly cloudy to partly cloudy skies.
Here's what we're working on for Fox 17 News at 5:30.
Still ahead, the fight for no-fault insurance changes continues.
Caregivers for a Detroit hockey legend say they're losing money. Plus, the CDC is updating COVID vaccine guidelines based on new data. We have those details coming up. We have been closely following the fight to change no-fault insurance in Michigan and how the changing policies have affected families.
And now the caregivers of a former Detroit Red Wings star say because of the new law, they are operating at a loss. Kim Russell at our sister station has the story.
Out to the point, Konstantinov, shot, score!
Vladimir Konstantinov fought hard on the ice to win the Red Wings the Stanley Cup for the first time in 42 years in 1997.
Breaking news tonight, 2 of our Hockey Town heroes are in the hospital and they're in pretty serious condition.
As the team celebrated, Konstantinov and team masseuse Sergei Monatsakanov suffered life-changing injuries when a limo crashed in Birmingham. Today, the company that provides care to Konstantinov held a press conference attended by Vladdy. They shared that they're losing money providing him life-sustaining care and pleaded to an end to what they call a political power play.
We've cared for Vladdy for 20 years, and to see that we might have to make this hard decision to cut him free and to just hope and pray that he can find something, it's not a good place to be in.
Teresa Rudicelli says Arcadia Home Care and Staffing now has $1.5 million worth of work for about 30 patients injured in catastrophic car accidents that insurance companies are refusing to pay for. The reason? A law that went into effect in July as the company dealt with inflation and a pandemic-pressured healthcare labor shortage cut reimbursement rates by 45%. Lawmakers said it aimed to end price gouging. Rudicelli says because her company was not gouging, it now is losing money providing care. Arcadia's intake coordinator, Julie Nye, says if the company discharges patients, there's nowhere to send them.
They have nowhere to go. There's nobody to take care of them.
If we were to vote on this today, legislators would support it overwhelmingly.
Barry Cargill is CEO of the Michigan Home Care and Hospice Association. He says right now most legislators he talks to approve of proposed bills getting rid of the across-the-board cut. But he says leaders in the House and insurance committee chairs in the House and Senate aren't moving them forward.
That was Kim Russell reporting. The CDC is updating its COVID-19 vaccine guidance as new data is coming out on its effectiveness. It now says the interval between first and second doses of the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines may be as long as 8 weeks for certain people. Under previous guidance, the second doses should be 3 weeks after the first Pfizer shot or 4 weeks after the first Moderna shot. It says extending the interval may reduce the risk of myocarditis, a type of heart inflammation, in males 12 to 39 years old. The CDC says the shorter intervals are still recommended for those who are moderately or severely immunocompromised, adults ages 65 and older, and others who need rapid protection.
The studies show today that 2 shots plus a booster protects almost everyone unless you're immunocompromised or in a very high-risk group.
Another new study says COVID-19 vaccines are not solely to blame for a rare inflammatory condition seen in some kids infected with the coronavirus. Multiple system inflammatory syndrome in children is a rare but treatable condition. It has been reported in nearly 7,000 U.S. children. Symptoms include stomach pain, fever, and skin rashes. While analyzing the possibility that COVID-19 vaccines could somehow prompt this rare condition, researchers found no evidence to support that claim. The study said that the condition may occur in about 1 in 1 million vaccinated kids, but only if they've previously been infected with COVID. Otherwise, they found the condition in about 1 in 3 million, those who were vaccinated but who did not previously have the virus. Still ahead, water levels rising in Kalamazoo.
And residents are being warned about the growing risk of flooding there. What's the trial beginning for the police raid that killed Breonna Taylor? And the ex-police officer's attorney says they've been preparing for months.
You're watching Fox 17 News.
Rising water levels in a Kalamazoo County river and stream are being closely monitored because of the high risk of flooding.
Messages have been sent to residents to keep them informed just in case action needs to be taken. Fox 17's Lauren Coomer spoke to the Kalamazoo County Sheriff's Office and has the latest on the situation there. Lauren?
Janice, Josh, this portion of the Kalamazoo River here in Comstock Township is one of the areas more prone to flooding. And the Kalamazoo County Sheriff's Office says with the past few days of rainfall, they'll continue to track the river's rise and act if necessary.
We have no significant issues right now, and no one's brought anything to our attention that would be any cause for concern.
Over the past couple of days, the rainfall has been heavy in Kalamazoo County, causing the water levels to rise in the Kalamazoo River and streams.
We want people to know that the flow of the river is constantly monitored. And there are a lot of people paying attention to this and alerting you as soon as we can.
It's a joint effort starting in Calhoun County where the water flows from. The Kalamazoo County Sheriff's Office, Emergency Management Team, and even the City of Kalamazoo, all keeping watch to notify residents if necessary.
We want them to know that if there's going to be an action point where we say, hey, we're going to have to take action, even if the action point is they're going to release a higher flow from the dam, we want people to know that.
The Morrow Dam also keeping communication with law enforcement if they're planning to adjust water flow. On Tuesday, operators increased flows into the Kalamazoo River to keep levels on the Morrow Pond lower to absorb extra water from heavy rainfall upstream.
The flow was a little heavier for a while, but again, in the end, we are constantly monitoring this with all of our partners to make sure that if there is going to be any kind of significant issues, we alert people as soon as possible.
The Sheriff's Office saying ice jams and debris are also a cause for concern in the winter months and want to make sure residents know the communication lines remain open.
Just listen to the news. If you have issues, reach out to your local Sheriff's Office and or 911, and we can check on the issue and hopefully solve any problems.
Sheriff Fuller also wants to remind people to stay away from any flooding, even if it is just a little bit, noting the current could be stronger than you think. Reporting in Kalamazoo County, Lauren Coomer, Fox 17 News.
If you have any plans to travel anytime soon, it may be wise to have a backup, maybe some travel insurance or just other plans. A winter storm stretching across the country has canceled more than 1,000 flights today. And more than 500 flights have already been canceled for Thursday. FlightAware, an aviation tracking website, says American Airlines is taking the biggest hit. The airline expects the storm to have what it calls a significant impact on its operation. About 1/3 of all of Americans' arrivals and departures at its headquarters in Dallas were canceled, and nearly 1/3 of departures are already canceled for Thursday.
We keep waiting for some warmer and more mild weather. I guess
Crossing
March starts next week, right? So, Haley, any of that on the horizon?
Well, we are going to get a smidge warmer by the end of next week. We're talking about a few days that could reach that 40-degree point, which will be really nice. But obviously, as we know, we've been talking about this so much. When we have the fluctuating of the temperatures, especially the warmer conditions, that does allow for a lot of that snow melt and potential flooding, especially in Michigan for the springtime. So we're hoping for a gradual increase increase across the region. Now, taking a look at our satellite radar, we have a few flurries here in West Michigan. Otherwise, some cloud cover that's starting to break up, especially for our northern counties. Locations that are north of I-96 already starting to see a little bit of clearing. Mostly cloudy skies over southwest Michigan and a few flurries closer towards the I-94 region, especially south of South Haven. Now, temperatures, they are much colder today comparatively to yesterday. 23 degrees in Grand Rapids now, 24 degrees in Battle Creek, and 21 degrees in Fremont. Our evening planner shows temperatures falling to about 18 degrees by 11 p.m., becoming partly cloudy. And tonight, the coldest temperature will be 13 degrees. We are expected to have very light winds, mainly from the northeast, bringing in that drier air and leading to partly cloudy conditions. But tomorrow, we start off with a little bit of sunshine. Cloud cover returns for the later evening hours, especially as we have that system that's going to approach mainly after 5 p.m., gradually approaching from the southwest, headed towards the north, producing widespread snow showers late tomorrow evening, even into parts of Friday morning. We are expected to have snow gradually accumulate. 2 to 3 inches will be possible. Detailing more about the exact timing coming up.
All right, Haley, thank you. Wednesday, the trial begins for a former Louisville police officer. Brett Hankinson is facing felony charges of wanton endangerment for blindly firing into Breonna Taylor's home nearly 2 years ago and killing her. Neither Hankinson nor any of the officers involved in serving that no-knock warrant that night on March 13, 2020, were charged in Breonna's death. Instead, Hankinson is defending himself against 3 counts of wanton endangerment in the first degree. That's for allegedly firing 10 shots blindly into her apartment, with some of the bullets entering the apartment next door. Hankinson denies the charges, saying that he thought his colleagues were being shot at after hearing an officer say that he'd been hit. His attorney says he's been preparing for some time now to defend the former Louisville Metro police officer. This says Taylor's mother is also preparing herself, already coping with a list of emotions.
Frustrated, angry, heartbroken, disappointed. The list goes on. It's just this vicious cycle of not trusting in the system.
I feel like justice is being served.
No, not at all. But it's a start, I guess, for somebody, not Breonna at all.
Hankinson's attorney said in a statement that we look forward to the upcoming trial, where hopefully the true narrative of this unfortunate incident will be told and correctly reported. Since that shooting, the Louisville Metro Police Department fired Hankinson along with 2 other officers. City also banned no-knock warrants. The federal investigation by the Department of Justice into potential civil rights violations is still underway. Attorney General Dana Nessel is preparing to argue before the Michigan Supreme Court over LGBTQ+ rights protections. The court is hearing a case that was brought by Roush World LLC, a wedding venue that denies services to same-sex couples and trans people. They filed a lawsuit against the Michigan Department of Civil Rights. Nessel is arguing that the Elliott Larson Civil Rights Act protects people from facing discrimination on the basis of their sexual orientation. That hearing will be held next Wednesday, March 2nd.
The COVID-19 pandemic has not only caused health-related concerns, but now it appears the virus has affected childhood development. A study was conducted on nearly 65,000 children in Uruguay between the ages of 4 and 6 years old. They were split into 2 categories: those who attended preschool from 2018 to 2019 and those who went the following school year. Researchers say cognitive and motor development skills, as well as learning attitudes among the 5-year-olds, dropped the most during the pandemic. Part of the problem, according to the study, could be linked to school closures, with children having at-home and online schooling. Every February, we focus on heart health and heart disease awareness.
And now, as we wrap up this year's Heart Month, we focus on the most common birth defect in the U.S. That's congenital heart disease. Candace Monticelli sat down with a local family to hear more about their daughter's journey with CHD.
When she told me that she needed surgery, like her whole life flashed before my eyes. Like, I didn't even know what to think, what to do, what to say. I kind of just shut down.
Shut down by the news that Savannah had CHD. Savannah's mom, Brecken, says it was such a scary time in their lives.
Coloring the trees brown. It was a mother's worst nightmare. to be honest. You could never think that something like this could happen to your child until it actually does happen to your child. And she's actually 1 in 100 kids that has CHD.
Savannah was sick a lot as a baby. She even had to be hospitalized a few times. Then in 2018, when Savannah was just 3 years old, Brecken took her daughter into the doctors for what she thought was another ear infection. But when the doctor started checking Savannah's heart, she knew right then something was wrong.
She had a very, very large hole in her heart. It was so large that there was no tissue left in her heart, which was causing all of her health issues.
Savannah had 2 open heart surgeries at Helen DeVos Children's Hospital just months apart surrounding her 4th birthday. But now she's home and living life to the fullest.
I feel great. I love that I could go home with my family and see them again. I was very scared to actually do this, but now that it's over, I absolutely have a great life again.
Yeah, she's progressed very well. We wouldn't even know if she had surgeries. Just meeting her for the first time, you think she just normal kid, no problems.
A kid with scars to prove she's a fighter. Savannah will deal with CHD for life and gets yearly EKGs as her doctors continue to monitor her heart.
Things are good. They're a lot better than they were. It's just, you take it day by day.
Each day, a blessing to be healthy and be home. Now Savannah says she can help other kids going through a journey like her own.
I'll say that I've been through this. I know what's going to happen. So if you need any questions, ask me. I will answer them.
I'm Candace Monticelli, Fox 17 News.
Strong little girl there. Almost 30,000 kids in West Michigan are at risk of going to bed hungry.
Yeah, and with changing school schedules, many kids may not have access to food for long periods of time. The Kids Food Basket was organized to help those families, and they're celebrating 20 years of fulfilling a mission to share healthy nourishing. It was started in 2002 by Mary Kay Hoodhood, a school principal with just $3,000 and a handful of volunteers. Their mission to feed kids reaches Kent, Muskegon, Ottawa, and Allegan counties.
Healthy, nourishing food is not a privilege. Healthy, nourishing food should always, every day, be a right.
Tune in to Fox 17 Morning News. We'll take a closer look at the Kids Food Baskets campaign for the month of March and how you can get involved.
Well, people around the world celebrated the Rare Tuesday yesterday, and a West Michigan family actually welcomed a baby with a lucky number 2 as well. Baby Dylan Bafaisal was born on Tuesday, February 22nd, 2022, exactly 2:22 p.m.